when you run a firm, like, and Openspace is now close to $1 billion, and it has procedures, and you want to have buy-in from the different partners, and everyone's got different flavors, right? So I lined up all the rest of my partners saying, Mike's
I remember my
guy.
coffee with Shane.
Yeah.
I had a coffee with Shane.
But what's interesting about the ecosystem is that it's an ecosystem, and so it just doesn't happen. What I've always said, like, if something doesn't happen in a certain way, you get disappointed, but you always know that that person will turn up somewhere else, especially if that person is a good guy. So you just kind of see the next configuration, and Mike went off to do some crazy stuff, and it was really good that he was on the other side of some of the other firms. So then if we needed to align certain investments and stuff like that, I could pick up the phone and go like, hey, Mike, like what's really going on?
Give me some insights.
We love the gossip. Yeah. So you talked about all your early stuff. Give us a small Solomon story, because it's like heady days of Asian finance. Must be some fun ones in there.
So banking is very different from I don't know, 20 over years ago. And you must remember, in those days, I think the bankers were the so-called cool kids, right? So the tech industry, big tech is now the cool kids. So banks had like serious cash flow. So I just want to give you a perspective of how lucrative banking was, right? So in 1999, during .com 1.0, Lycos, remember Lycos and Lycos Asia? If you underwrote like a $40 million IPO in those days, right? And that's a big IPO, you get paid 7% of that proceeds, right? So let's just do the math, like, it's like 1.6, I don't know, it's like almost $2.5-3 million, right? And you could do like 7 of those. So people like Frank Quattrone, and they were doing mega deals. They were doing $300 million IPOs. They were paying 7%. I don't know whether people get paid 7% IPOs, but if you're a 26-year-old banker, you were flying business class. So it was just really heady days. You worked very hard. It was really just the place to be, right? And Solomon in particular, as a firm, wasn't the blue chip firm, right? So what the blue chip firms? Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, and probably Morgan Stanley. I'm going to miss a few other people, right? But Solomon, as you know from the days of Michael Lewis, they were always the outsiders. And I enjoyed being in that firm because we were the outsiders. So there were a whole bunch of real cowboys, managing director cowboys, who, the reason why they were cowboys is they believed they were cowboys. So they spoke like cowboys. So the story is as follows, right? So one time we were doing a trade between 3 airlines, Singapore Airlines, Swiss Airlines, and I think Lufthansa, because of Star Alliance. So everyone held each other's shares. So it was a simple trade. It was a trade on the floor where you bought $300 million worth of Singapore Airlines and then Swiss Air and everything. And you actually had to physically deliver share certificates. This was in 1999. So it's like
FedEx.
Yeah, this is like Die Hard, Bruce Willis, bearer bonds. These were bearer shares, right? So the trade's all done, and then now Swiss Air was sending the Singapore Airlines shares to Singapore, right? So my friend, and I didn't do this, my friend, he's just like this guy. He just started there. And the managing director comes in, he goes, Dipan, I want you to come here. Pen, paper, calculator. And this guy, okay, what do you want? He says, I want 2 armored cars, just in case one of them gets hijacked or destroyed. I want 2 armored cars. He's like, 2 armored cars? And I want you to go to Changi Airport. There'll be a small Swiss guy, and this is the password. If he says the password, there'll be a briefcase, and you'll have handcuffs. I want you to unlock, inspect, get the briefcase, get into the first Cisco, take 2 directions, and get to the Citibank vault. This guy's just writing this stuff down, right? Halfway through, like Dipan was telling me, halfway through, he goes, wait a minute, this shit's going down, real stuff. So he jumps into the Cisco van, everyone's with shotguns, and he goes down, and literally expecting he's going to get like 300 pieces of paper. He gets 1 piece of paper.
One certificate.
One piece of paper. It's like 300 million. And then he gives like the password, and this small Swiss guy goes, yeah, that's that, authenticate. And then they drive back, and he goes to the Citibank vault. It's like a real vault, opens it up, puts it inside there. But the great part about it was these guys were cowboys, right? So they thought like cowboys. So the MD said, when it's all done, you call me, and all you have to say is that the eagle has landed.
And that means someone flew the certificate over.
Someone flew the certificate, right? But when it's all done, the code word was like, some people goes, MD, the eagle has landed. And he was like, apparently he was at the bar, he goes, yeah, roger that, that's great.
Head down to Harry's.
Don't you miss that days? Don't you miss that days?
Of course you miss those days. Why would you not miss those days? These are the days when you tell your great stories, right? You know, and then the other thing about it is they never realigned the expense budget. So you had $35 for dinner. So everyone was just going to hotel, poolside. The analysts would work until like 9 o'clock and everyone had like a big meal. It was great. It was great times.
Yeah.
They're not like that anymore.